Hello, and welcome to the Valley. Today, I am your host, Janet Michael. I am back today at Winchester Little Theater. We're going to talk about an upcoming production. They have Wait Until Dark. So I'm sitting in the lobby. Tim Bambera is here with me, my new connection now for all things live Little Theater. I told you when you reached out to me about A Christmas Carol that you would come to regret this decision. And now here we are, less than 2 months later, sitting talking about another production.
Well, yeah, I'm glad you could come by today.
So joining us today is Joette Orndorff. She is going to be the director of this particular production, along with Avery Bush. She is playing the role of Gloria. So Joette, I'm going to ask you, give me a little background. Tell me a little bit about the plot of this particular production. What do I need to know?
Wait Until Dark, it's a thriller, which I think is pretty unique to this space. We don't often do that. We've done murder mystery, but it's a little bit different. It's more got you in the suspense of what's going to happen. And it is a play that's been around since the 60s. I studied it in college. I fell in love with the story. I just love the unique aspect of there's a con happening, but then it switches itself up and it's somebody else switching and who becomes in control. And I really, really like the idea of the victim becoming...
The mark really turns into the con in this whole story, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. There is a film version that I also fell in love with, starring Audrey Hepburn. Gotta love her. And just the atmosphere that it created. I just love the dark and the idea of being able to trust your senses, but also, can you?
And in this particular case, the person that we were talking about, Susie, she's blind.
Yes.
So that makes it even more complicated to know what's happening around her when she can't see what's actually happening around her.
Yes. She is not only blind, she is someone who is newly blind. She wasn't born that way, so she's having to adjust to this life, and she's also newly married. Her husband's helping her adjust to this lifestyle, but it's something that she's learning to cope with, and I think when these con men and bad guys come her way, it's a big test of if she really can be the victor in the outcome.
Have you directed a production like this before, or is this the first thriller that you have done?
This is the very first thriller. I've always wanted to do a thriller. I actually have wanted to do this play since I studied it in college. I just thought it was very unique. It gripped me even just reading it on the page. The suspense throughout is just amazing, so I'm excited.
And you've directed other productions here and in your professional life.
Yes. I studied theater in college and fell in love with education after the year I graduated. I worked at Wayside when they were open as a costumer and then fell in love with the education program, and I haven't looked back since. I've toured with Missoula Children's Theater, and then I've been a teacher for about, 2017, since 2017, so about 8 years. I lived abroad. I came back and I studied, or I taught theater, and now I teach it full-time at the Independent School of Winchester, and then we also have other productions. So yeah, I direct, and I like to be here and direct adults on occasion when I can.
We talked last time I was here about the WLT for Kids program that you have. That's probably pretty near and dear to your heart then.
Oh yes, it's so interesting because when I was a teenager, I got involved at Winchester Little Theater when I was about 15 years old. I was in a main stage show and then learned about the WLT for Kids. I was in it the last year I could be. I was like 18, and so I was in a production of Treasure Island, and then I helped my mom. She directed a few. I was assistant director. I helped any way I could when I was still in college in the area, and then I moved away. But I've become more involved over the past few years. My first show that I directed here was a WLT for Kids, Peter Pan Jr. And I've done Moana Jr. and Alice in Wonderland, and have also helped in other capacities stage managing elsewhere, and will be directing this summer as well.
And then you've acted in production, so you've been on both sides of the stage. Is that the right phrase?
Yes, on stage and off stage, behind the scenes. I love both. When I was younger, I wanted to be an actor, but there's so many different facets to this art form, and I just think the act of storytelling is so important. It's what I teach my students. The big thing I talk about is ensemble. You kind of grow up thinking, there's the stars and then there's the side characters, but every single person involved with a show is important, and they're there to tell the story. So that's what I fall in love with, and I try to do whatever I can to help.
I think a lot of people from the outside looking in grossly underestimate the value of having a director who understands that. They think, they're just given a script, and the actors memorize the script, and they do what's on the pages. But it's not just about the words and the things that they're saying. There's movement involved, there's feeling, and they really have to connect with the people in the audience. That's your job, to make sure they're doing that during rehearsals and everywhere else.
Yeah, the job of a director, I think a lot of people don't know. Your brain is like 1,000 tabs are open, open, and people are also asking you, everybody's asking you the questions. That's why I like acting sometimes. I'm like, oh, it's nice, nobody's asking me any questions right now. But it's a very creative job, and you create the pictures and the connections on stage, and you help your actors as best you can to tell the story in the most natural way, but also like a way where they get the best experience and the audience gets the best experience. It is a big job.
How do you decide which production you want to do what in? Did you see this and say, oh, I want to direct this? Did you bring it to the group and say, hey, this is what I want to do? How does all of that shake out?
We have a play reading committee. You join, and it's made up of directors, but also other people who are just interested in what we put on here. And you usually put forth a few different scripts and things, and it gets voted on how it could fit into a season. Because if everybody wants to direct a farce and we have a year full of the same shows, that doesn't work. So sometimes you have to wait a couple years, and sometimes they get rejected over and over again. My mom, who also directs here, has a few plays where she could tell you she fought for about 10 years before she was able to put on certain shows. So I was very excited that this one went through. So. Yeah, I have lots of plays that I'd love to do that I think would be really cool in this space as well. That's also something we have to consider for WLT is not only is it a good show, is the script, do we have the cast for it, but will it work in our space specifically because it's a very intimate and close space.
That's why I'm excited that this is that psychological thriller, because in a small space like that, people are really going to feel all of the things when they're sitting in the audience.
They can be in the room. They're in the room.
Yeah. They're like amongst it. It's like they're part of they're the apartment. So I'm very excited for people to experience this up close.
Avery, you're playing Gloria. Tell me a little bit about your character.
I feel like she's a very different kind of character because she goes through all these sort of changes while also trying to help Susie, who she always says that she isn't quite fond of, but she really is. She's just tough on her, and she helps her along the story.
How many productions have you participated in here at Winchester Little Theater? Because I understand you go back to the WLT for Kids Days.
I've done one show for WLT and then one show for Huzzah so far.
Obviously you like it because you came back for a second, but tell me a little bit why this interests you.
It's really fun, and I heard about this from my friend, and I was like, okay, I'll decide to try this. And it was really fun to learn about the different parts of putting together a show and learning professional kind of setting rather than like a school setting where I had done one show prior. So it was really fun, and it helped me grow confidence because I used to be really shy on stage, and then one show really helped me learn to be confident.
The most shyest of persons can get on stage and suddenly transform into, and then come off stage and go back to being that shy person that doesn't really want anybody to look at them. As Joette is, that would be me. I, of course, wouldn't have any idea what that's like.
We'll get you up here one of these days.
Now, you're playing one of the not great guys.
No, not great guys. So I'm playing Harry Roat, junior and senior, and he's a really fun character. He's a little bit more diabolical than the other cons. The other two guys are more Ocean's 11. I'm a little bit more sinister, and it's pretty fun. I actually didn't think I was going to get cast in this role at all because I've done a lot of comedic stuff at Winchester Little Theater, and people know me as, I don't know, I guess kind of a ham. The last thing I was in with Joe that she directed, I was out here as Julia Childs in one scene, and Hamlet in another scene.
Hamlet, yeah. Hamlet was pretty serious. So.
Hamlet was very serious. I was another character in this play, Mike, a couple years ago, over a decade ago actually. I was in my young 30s. And like Joe too, the first time I did this show, absolutely loved it. It's such a psychological thriller. I'm not going to spoil the ending, but there's nothing like it in theater. So to get a chance to play Roat has just been super fun for me. I looked around at one rehearsal and was like, oh my gosh, I'm actually the old guy now in the cast. But it's fitting, and I'm glad Joe took a chance on me because I've been having a good time doing something different that I'm really excited for people to see what I do with the character, what Joe does with the direction. It's something different than usually I'm running around in a farce slamming doors or something like that.
And what role do you play, Joe, as director when it comes to the auditions and casting? Are you the final say?
When it comes to the casting, yes, you have a committee, so you have people from on your crew. So usually it's your stage manager, your costumer is usually there, anybody on tech that's able to, and then you also have other people from the different committees because it helps you get a full conversation going. What did they see and what did they think? But when it comes down to it, you as a director get the final say. There's definitely times where it's challenging. We had a lot of people come out for this. It was the first time I think we had more men than women because it's usually just a female-driven thing. But I just love the audition process in general because you get to just see different things, especially as a director. You have a vision in your head, but sometimes someone can come in and totally change it or just surprise you. And I don't know, it's just a really interesting challenge because you come in with an idea in your head, but sometimes you leave and are completely...
Because sometimes the actor has a different character in their head,
Yeah.
and so they bring that person to the audition.
100%.
We're having a problem at our house with our YouTube TV not working, so I've been running Netflix constantly because the dogs have to have something to watch
Yes.
on television, and so I started with Seinfeld first episode. And so I know, of all things, they're learning all about Seinfeld. But I remember, it's funny that you say that because I remember how Kramer got that job, and that is not at all what they had in mind for his character until he showed up for the audition in all of his craziness.
Yeah.
Then they realized that's exactly what we need for this particular part. So that does happen even here on a local level.
Oh yeah, it's happened for sure because we have 2 nights of auditions. So sometimes you can leave the first night and think, I've got my cast, I know what it is. And then the second night, people come out of the woodwork and surprise you and come in and show you, oh, I didn't see the character like that, but the character could work really well like that. Because it's always hard to let people down too, because it's such a small cast, and when you have a big turnout, it's...
Yeah, because you want to tell everybody yes.
Yes, yeah. We do have a few extra people that were like, oh, you can come on, and we got some crew for the show, because it's always nice to just get people involved as well, like newer people. Again, it's a community theater, but it really is like a big family here, so we like to welcome people in if they want to join, so it's nice.
And Joe's good at finding some extra parts to get people involved in too. So like in this show, there's 2 police officers that come in at the end. So just like she's talking about, she double casted to give a few people some new opportunities. And like when we did the complete works of William Shakespeare, it's written for 3 people. She cast 3 extra actors to play these, what she called shadows, which is really cool. So we ended up having 6 actors on stage, and the other 3 actors did a lot. They were very involved in the show. They weren't like understudies or anything. Technically, they were supposed to be ours. Unfortunately, I never got to that point. But yeah, they were highly involved in everything we were doing on the show. And that's all Joe. That's not in a script anywhere.
Right.
Let's take a break. When we come back, Avery, I want to talk a little bit about your pre-audition process, what you did to get ready and what the audition was like for you. Can we do that in the next segment?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to do all of that when we come back. We are sitting tonight I say tonight because people are listening at noon and they're like, tonight? It is the evening. It is before New Year's, no less. We're sitting at Winchester Little Theater having a conversation about their upcoming production, Wait Until Dark. It opens on January 16th. Joette Orndorff is here with me. She is their director. Tim Bambera and Avery Bush are here. They are both in the production. We're going to come back and learn more about that in just a couple of minutes.
This Saturday, Henry Mueller will change the world. He has no idea that's what he's going to do. He only knows that he went to justserve.org and signed up to spend time at a senior center Saturday morning. As he browsed through service opportunities in his own community, he remembered the words of Paul to the Galatians, "By love, serve one another." Little does Henry know that Saturday morning he'll end up speaking to one senior in particular who hasn't seen his family in several weeks and is feeling especially lonely. Henry doesn't know the short time he'll spend with this man will lift his spirits, cheer his heart, and make his life just a little better. Through love and service this Saturday, Henry Mueller will change the world. See the difference you can make. Sign up for service opportunities in your community. Visit justserve.org.
Welcome back to the Valley. Today I am your host, Janet Michael. We are back with Winchester Little Theater. Today we are sitting in the lobby talking about an upcoming production, Wait Until Dark. It opens on January 16th. I will say, Tim, we've talked about this before. I looked before I came here, so we're recording on the 29th of December, and it is on its way to being a sold-out show. So when we tell people, go get your tickets, we're not joking around.
Yeah, I think I was telling Joe, we're at 87.8%, so we're almost, we don't have many tickets left.
I will say, though, we'll do a quick plug. I know we'll do another plug again at the end. The production that you're doing in March still has plenty of tickets.
Yes,
So get them as early as possible.
Decision Height and Calendar Girls both have plenty of tickets left. But yeah, I try to warn people. Christmas Carol, I mean, like shortly after we were done, it was
when we were
sold out.
recording that, just a couple of days, I think, before it actually aired, there might have been 12 tickets left that day. That one, of course, goes very, very quickly, I would imagine.
Yeah, this one, it's great that the ticket sales are actually this good already for January show. The January show can be a little tricky with the weather and anything like that, but we're in good shape for a January show.
So Joette Orndorff is here with me. She is the director of this production. Avery Bush is here as well. You just heard from Tim Bambera. He is their PR manager for the theater. He has a role in this upcoming production as well. But Avery, when we went to break, we were talking a little bit about auditions.
Yeah.
What did you do before you came to the audition? Did you psych yourself up? Did you read about this character? Because this was a play and a film from 1967, which I am fairly confident in saying was way before you were born.
Yeah. So it was definitely different than my normal auditions, because usually I'm 2 months ahead of time finding the perfect monologue and stuff. But it was 9 p.m. at night, and I found out the day before auditions there was a role open. So I was like, okay, oh my gosh, can I do this? I was brushing my teeth and I was scrolling. I was like, monologue. And I finally found one, and I had memorized the entire monologue before bed. And I went to bed and I woke up and realized I didn't need a monologue. So I had 2 big tests that I should have studied for, but I was studying my monologue. So I was in class studying the character and also studying my test, and it was really crazy. And I was like, oh, I'm not getting this. And I went to auditions and everybody was super good. And then I was like, okay, try to be super obnoxious with your voice and be Gloria. Because I literally, an hour before auditions, I scanned through a quick show to hear the character, which I don't usually do because you're not really supposed to, but I was panicking. And I was like, okay, so she's really obnoxious. And the adrenaline got me, and I did the obnoxious voice, and then I never did it again.
When you decided this was a role you were going to audition for, this was the role. You didn't come in and say, I'll take anything. You came in and said, this is what I'm auditioning for. So you knew a little bit about what that role was and what you were going to need to be able to do on stage.
Yeah, I usually am open to every role. I study every role, but I have a main one that I secretly want to get. But this one was the only kid, and I was like, okay, wait, but I actually do really like her. And I was like, I hope I do get her, but if not, that's okay. And I ended up getting her, and I was really excited.
And it's a fairly grueling rehearsal process, because you decide this is going to be the show, then you do auditions, then you do rehearsals, and then it's showtime. So you've got to put a lot of work in. Once you are told, yes, you're going to be Gloria, it's still a pretty good amount of work up until and after the production is done.
Especially with school, you have to know how to balance your stuff. And I was worried about memorizing, but I'm actually pretty on point with memorizing my lines. Like, I memorized whole Act 1 in like 30 minutes in math class. So I was like, okay, yeah, I can do this.
I'm not even going to ask you what school you go to, because your math teacher is going to figure it out, and I don't want to be responsible for that. And then what's it like when opening night comes and you're there and everything is falling into place and you're on stage and everything is going the way that it's supposed to go? What is that feeling like?
When we're about to get ready and I'm driving here, I'm listening to my music. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is happening. I'm so excited. I've always loved to do this. I didn't think I was going to continue theater until I auditioned in the summer for another show here. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to keep doing it. I thought I was too shy to keep doing it. So I never thought I would actually be doing shows like this. So I always get really excited and kind of bittersweet almost.
It's a lot of buildup, and then
Yeah.
once you're here, it's like Christmas morning, and it's all great, but then it's over. And
And then before the show, I get such bad anxiety. I'll be shaking, I'll be like, chugging water, rehearsing my lines, and I'll be like, no, it's okay. And I'll go on stage, and I'll do it, and then I'll come off stage, and I'll be like, okay, I'm good.
Now, what are your future plans? Is this something you think you want to pursue professionally? Do you have another career path, but this is certainly going to be something that you keep in your life?
It's definitely a hard path if you're trying to be an actor. So I'm studying to be a psychiatrist, but I will always want to be an actor. And while doing psychiatry, I'm going to try to do stuff with acting, because my biggest dream since I was like 10 years old was to be an on-screen actor or like a Broadway actor.
Wow. Psychiatry degree will really come in handy, because it'll help you get into the mind
Yeah.
of your characters a whole lot more.
It'll give me some stability if acting doesn't work out.
And I know you have a day job, Tim, so
Yeah,
this
I'm a
isn't
therapist, so
this.
it works.
Yeah. Do you find that it helps you though, being a therapist in your day job, to be able to get into character like we were talking about?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I've always wanted to be in the helping field, so I actually am an addictions counselor for a day job. I think it's really helpful to be able to take a look at a character and realize maybe this guy's a bad guy, but there's definitely some parts of you, honestly you, that can fill this guy up. So if I'm going to go to audition, I'm trying to access those parts of me that might think like this. Hopefully I'm not as diabolical as this guy in real life. But that's part of playing the character. And when we get into acting theories and analyzing characters and whatnot, I just basically show up and show the audience this part of you and let that fill this role. And that tends to work out a lot better than trying to put on more stuff and create characters and all that stuff.
Because the audience can see that. You probably can pick up on that too as director. You can tell when somebody is trying way too hard.
Yes, I have been that person.
Me too.
Now I understand. Yeah, the more natural and the more you can find of yourself, because again, it is acting. It's not you, but there are elements of you. And as a human, you're capable of so many different things. And I think as an actor early on, that's what drew me to acting, is you can step into so many different pairs of shoes. You get to experience things you never would. And so I think that's a big part of the appeal of acting. But yeah, as a director, you definitely see that. But as an educator in theater as well, you try to help people kind of hone in on, okay, you have this idea and the energy, but you have to make it more natural, because the audience does see through that, and so does your director. So yeah, the more natural and the more comfortable you are, I think, is a big part of it too.
And you get to play. This is all about playing. So like,
Well, it is once you've gotten the part.
yeah.
Do you have a process? Do you like sit in a dark room and woo-saw for a couple of minutes before you head over?
What's my process? No, I'm usually backstage cutting a lot of jokes.
Which,
trying to lighten
as you
everybody
mentioned
up.
earlier, has got to make it a little complicated when you're playing a role like this, because you said you were concerned about being typecast.
Right.
And now you've got to go from being the guy that everybody here knows is the funny one and is going to do the jokes, to being this guy who's diabolical, as you say. How hard was that to transition and to get everybody to believe it?
Okay, so Jamie and Zach, who were playing the other two common, we did a show here, a Neil Simon show a couple years ago, after on the 23rd floor, and that was kind of like backstage, you're cutting jokes because you got to get back on stage and be funny anyway, right? This is more like cutting jokes backstage to release the tension so that you can get on and be tense. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It's like trying to hang loose so that we can get on and do all the intense stuff that we have to do. And that can also get you focused in a weird way. But I really like creating, my favorite part, I think, of any of this is putting stuff on. I've got these glasses that they look like Alan Arkin's glasses from the movie. I put those on and I'm just like, all right, that's it. I'm in it.
You're transformed. That's the end of that.
And that goes along with all of the awesome designers that we have here that make us look good and make the set look good. Chris and Jack just walked through there. She's doing the props. Chris Fierce, those are our props. I don't know where she figures some of the stuff out, but we've got a Reader's Digest from like 1965 on the coffee table. Yeah. So
Get out.
It's right. It's Braille. Yeah.
It's really cool.
Crazy. One of the cool things when you come to this theater too is because you're so close, and we talked about this a little bit of time, with the acting, you got to be really honest. You can't really fool anybody with the acting, but also just the attention to detail that's going to be on the set, that's going to be in the costuming, that's going to be with the lighting and the sound. My favorite part of the process is watching it all kind of come together and getting to put this stuff on to step into the role.
You like the physical transformation before the mental transformation.
Yeah. Because I don't know, it's always fun to turn it on and off, but yeah, once you just put that stuff on, like your character from Hilda.
Yeah.
Hilda's Yard.
She wore heels. I don't usually wear heels anymore.
Your hair's still blonde.
Yeah, I kept the blonde. But she was very Marilyn, and I'm very not. I'm more Audrey. But I love Marilyn and the way you have to move and the confidence, even just wearing tight black pants and wearing the heels and just the way you have to carry yourself. When you put that costume on, it comes together. So oftentimes we have things in rehearsal. If it's a musical and they have period costumes, we'll have rehearsal skirts. We'll have them in the shoes they're wearing because you move differently depending on what's on your body. Because if you're wearing sweats and sneakers, you're going to move a lot differently. So it isn't a whole process, but costumes, and especially in education, you will see it the minute those costumes are on. It's like a completely different, like the characters really come to life.
It's very similar, and Tim and I joked about this the last time when I was doing these shows live, and the on-air light would come on.
Yeah.
That was my concern about cursing on air.
Yeah.
And Lonnie at the station said, did you ever curse in front of your grandparents? I'm like, well, no, of course not. He goes, there's something about when you flip that switch and go on air, you're just not going to. Trust me, I can't explain it, but that's what happens. It's a very similar effect.
Yeah. It's a different mentality. And I think that's also something as an educator, but as a student of the arts, people don't think it, but we act all the time. Teachers, big actors, people, like when you're out and about or you're with different people, it's harder to be yourself all the time. And I remember when I was younger, I had a phone voice. Like I would hear it, I'm like, oh.
Movie phone.
Yeah, right. It would be higher, and I hated it.
Nice Seinfeld reference there, by the way. But yeah, and you don't even realize, similar when I took over the show, I just went on the air and sounded like me. Mm-hmm. And then the station has some sort of deal or agreement with other small community-based radio stations all across the country. Mm-hmm. And so if they need a female voice and they don't have females that work at that station, they'll put it into the hopper. And then Lonnie can go in and he can pull a commercial and say, hey, we'll record this for you. And then when he needs somebody or wants a different voice, he can go back into the hopper and say, I need a guy with this accent or whatever it is. And so he had done that, and somebody needed a female voice. So he asked me to come in, and would I do this commercial? I'm like, oh, how hard can it be? So I go in and I sit down. I don't know what this voice was that came out of me. He referred to it as a porn voice. Oh, no. Which, ew, that was, he said, you stop, you need to use your, I'm like, that is my voice. He goes, no, it's not. All of a sudden you are sounding polished, and I'm like, wait now, does that mean I am not polished on a regular basis? But you don't even realize sometimes until you're put in a position to have to do the opposite.
Yeah, 100%.
Now, when you do rehearsals, are they beginning to end? Do you pick certain scenes? How does that work?
It honestly depends on the director. The show I was in, we did a lot of stuff out of order, but that show was lots of little two-person scenes, and then we were all together at the very end. This is a lot of interactive. I did block it beginning to end, but I also, when we've been doing Act 2, because a few of the actors who are only in the end, we'll start with that, and usually I'll send them home until we get to the weeks of full runs, because we'll have to start getting used to sitting and doing the other things.
Doing all of the things.
But yeah, sometimes we do certain things at the beginning, because this is also a very physical show. We have an incredible fight choreographer, Rebecca Sims, who's been helping choreograph all of these things, because we are very apt on safety and doing things so that our actors are comfortable, and even our audience, because there's certain times where something happens and you just want to be like, no, they're okay. Like, we promise they're okay.
And you don't want to stop the show to say, it's okay,
it's
really.
Okay, this is not real. But she's an incredible choreographer, and so we will often do that at the beginning too. So we'll go through what we call fight call and go through all of that, and then rehearse some of those things up top, and then do other things later.
And that's almost like dance choreography. So like the way that Rebecca does it, it's very precise. Again, too, we do with those fight calls, we might do the action. If I got to fall down the stairs or something, I might do that 2 or 3 times at different speeds to make sure that I'm good with doing it.
That is crazy.
Yeah. It's fun.
I'm gonna need to see you falling down the stairs now. That's gonna be very interesting. Tim, the show opens January 16th, runs through January 31st. Where do I go get my tickets? Because you do matinees, you do evening performances, and there's a pretty wide swath of days there that are available.
Yeah, so you're going to go to winchesterlittletheater.org to buy tickets from the website. First weekend is Thursday, Friday, Saturday. The second weekend it's going to be Thursday, Friday, Saturday matinee, Saturday evening, and then a Sunday matinee, and then the last closing weekend is going to be Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot the opening weekend. There's a Sunday matinee as well. So total of, what is that, 13?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, 13.
Yeah, so right now, I guess we'll see how we do, if we need to add another or something like that too. But yeah, it's going to be an immersive experience, to say the least. And what's really cool about doing this show in this space is the actual setup. Last time I did it was on a proscenium, so it's separated from the audience.
Right.
Yeah.
Now,
like
they're
right there. They're
right
every show, you're right there.
That's going to be really cool. And the other places you can go to just check out what we're doing, we've got a Facebook page, we've got an Instagram, we got a TikTok, we got a YouTube, so we're out there. But that's a great place to just get information too about what we're doing and what's coming up is our Facebook page and our Instagram pages.
A new production in March.
Yeah, so
we joked earlier that there there are tons of tickets available for that. Get them now.
There's auditions for Decision Height, and that's going to be on January 18th and 19th. So during the run of this show, they'll do auditions on that Sunday and Monday night. I think after our opening weekend, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be a great show. And then we close out with Calendar Girls. That's going to be in May. Oh, and then we have our WLT for kids. So we have Three Musketeers this summer, and then James the Giant Peach. So yeah, we got a lot going on. And then pretty soon we'll be announcing our 2026 season 2.
So Avery, somebody's listening and they've always thought this would be a cool, fun thing to do. What advice would you give them? Would you tell them to do it, or would you tell them to run?
Before I actually did it, I would probably say run, but once you're there, it's something you should just do. It doesn't matter if you get the role or not, it's still an experience and it's still growing you as a person. When I first got into acting, I auditioned for 2 shows and didn't get in. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna audition for 1 more, and if I don't get in, I'm just gonna run. That's never what you should have a mentality of, but I did. And I got in the show and I was like, okay, I'm gonna audition for Winchester Little Theater. And I got in and I was like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna keep doing this. So I would definitely say to do it and just take the risk.
And Joe, there are a lot of people that could be good actors, that could participate in theater like this, that probably discount themselves. Scrooge, I think, was one that we talked to last month. He was like, yeah, no, but my daughter made me say that I would come and do it. She's
John,
the one that, conned him into coming in and do it. You encourage anyone who's listening to check out an audition.
Yeah, 100%. As I said before, we had so many men this last time. There's always a type of person that you might think, oh, there's no shows for me. But if you don't show up, there will never be those roles for you. So the more you show up, the more you come out. We're going to pick shows that you would fit in. Even if you don't get cast right away, we always encourage people to come back because, again, it is so hard because you're just like, oh, you want to give things to everyone, but there is the role that is out there for you. And there's lots of other opportunities.
And I was going to say, there is a mass amount of people that you need to build sets.
Yes.
Your choreographers, your costume people, any of those, lighting, all of those things always need somebody.
Yes.
Because this is a community theater. It's not like you just pay people to be on staff to do that.
Yeah.
So that's another great way to get your foot in the door, even if you never plan on getting on stage.
Exactly. If you're someone who's, nope, that's not for me, but you love theater or you love telling stories, we are always in need of people to come build sets. We are always in need of designers because when it's the same people over and over, it can be a lot. So I think it's always lovely to get new people in. If you're interested in lights, if you're interested in costumes, come on out because we would love to get you started.
Thank you, guys, for taking some time this evening to sit and chat with me. It's always fun.
Thank you.
I will be back tomorrow with a brand new episode of The Valley Today, a few minutes after noon, so meet me here then.